On today's episode of The Latest, we're going to be breaking down the biggest news and headlines of the week so far, starting with the latest regarding Vince McMahon and Janel Grant. Vince McMahon's legal team contends a binding arbitration clause exists in the NDA Janel Grant signed in 2021. Vince filed a motion in the District of Connecticut on Tuesday to compel arbitration of Grant's lawsuit. This means Vince is asking the court to recognize the arbitration clause and send the matter to private arbitration hearings with an independent arbitrator rather than litigation. The filing by McMahon's team read, by publicly filing her salacious, false, and defamatory complaint, plaintiff has brazenly and intentionally violated a binding contract to arbitrate. The filing continues to allege Vince and Grant engaged in a consensual relationship and references the love letter she wrote to him in 2021 as proof of this. Several photographs in the filing refute claims in Janel Grant's lawsuit that she was in financial difficulties or was a full-time caregiver leading up to the relationship with Vince McMahon. The filing also notes that Janel was living with her fiancé during the time of her relationship with Vince and that both parties were aware the other was involved in another romantic relationship. The filing then notes both parties agreed to end their relationship in 2022 and an NDA was drawn up and signed. The agreement includes a clause that states disputes would be resolved through arbitration. The filing continues to refute all allegations against Vince McMahon. Ann Callis, the lawyer representing Janel Grant in the case, issued a statement to WrestleNomics about the filing from Vince McMahon's team. Ann Callis said, Vince McMahon has never known a storyline that he doesn't twist to fit his own shameful narrative. Her father was in in-home hospice during his final days where Janel continued to care for him around the clock. Prior to his death, she had been caring for her blind, wheelchair-bound mother. Using the grief of someone who lost both of her parents is an all-new level of disgusting. Her ex-boyfriend allowed her to stay in the apartment as she rebuilt her life and resumed post-taking care of her parents. She had no job and no other financial support to lean back on. Additionally, Janel Grant's attorneys have filed to strike statements made in Vince McMahon's preliminary response to the lawsuit. On Wednesday, Janel Grant's attorneys filed a motion to strike against what they called inflammatory lies made in Vince McMahon's memorandum. Grant's motion says that the statements made were used as a platform to launch vicious falsehoods attacking Janel's moral character in an attempt to harass and intimidate her into submission. The motion further states Vince McMahon's easily refuted lies have no place in this case. It was not necessary, reasonable, or responsible to use a public filing to impugn Janel Grant's moral character. Indeed, Vince McMahon's desperate attempt to distract from the legal substance of the motion highlights its weakness and the weakness of his overall case. This court has inherent power to strike a party's filings. Accordingly, Janel respectfully requests that the court exercise that power to strike the motion's preliminary statement in its entirety and admonish McMahon and his counsel that such statements have no place in civil litigation. In a statement released to Post Wrestling, Vince McMahon's lawyer Jessica T. Rosenberg issued a response to Janel Grant's motion to strike, saying, plaintiff had no right to bring this case in a public court but did so anyway. Now that she chose this public forum to falsely accuse Mr. McMahon, she wants to silence his ability to respond. She can't have it both ways. We'll keep you posted when more on this story comes our way. Shifting gears to some other news, the Elites laid out Tony Khan and Jack Perry's return to AEW Dynamite Wednesday, plus Shad Khan made his on-screen debut in the show closing angle. After returning to AEW at Dynasty from an indefinite suspension stemming from a backstage altercation with CM Punk at All In last August, Jack Perry was part of a show-long storyline on Dynamite where the Elites, Matthew Jackson, Nicholas Jackson, and Kazuchika Okada brokered a meeting between Jack Perry and Tony Khan in the ring. Jack Perry entered for the final segment on Dynamite and called out Tony Khan, then cut a babyface promo promising to work together with Tony Khan to continue changing the wrestling world. After raising Tony Khan's arm in celebration, Jack Perry punched him in the stomach. The rest of the Elite then entered, and the Young Bucks hit their Tony Khan driver on Tony Khan. laying out the company's owner, GM, and head of creative. Referees, wrestlers, and medical personnel attended to Tony as the Elite retreated to the stage. Then Tony's father, Shad Khan, came to the ring looking concerned for his fallen son. In other news, Paul Triple H Levesque posted the following tweet responding to London Mayor Shad Khan wanting to host WrestleMania. As part of his re-election campaign, London Mayor Shad Khan is hoping to bring WWE WrestleMania to the United Kingdom for the first time ever. He has said that if re-elected on May 2nd, he will start a task force to bring more sports from the United States to the city. He wants London to host WrestleMania, the Super Bowl, and NBA games. It doesn't seem like a UK WrestleMania is in WWE's immediate plans. Company president Nick Khan stated last week that WWE has decided its Big Five PLEs, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Money in the Bank, should be in the United States or Canada. The goal is for WWE's other PLEs to take place from international locations. The location for WrestleMania 41 has not been announced yet. WWE's upcoming international PLEs are Backlash May 4th in France, King and Queen of the Ring May 25th in Saudi Arabia, Clash at the Castle June 15 in Scotland, and Bash in Berlin August 31st in Germany. London's O2 Arena did host Money in the Bank last year. During the show, John Cena made a surprise appearance and advocated for WrestleMania to be brought to London. On to our next story, Cameron Grimes is no longer with WWE. In an emotional video on Tuesday, the 30-year-old Trevor Lee announced that he's been released from his WWE contract. Jinder Mahal, Xia Li, Veer, Sangha, Zion Quinn, and Von Wagner were also released by the company in recent days. The releases were made in advance of the 2024 WWE Draft beginning this Friday. Cameron Grimes said he loved working at WWE and it's the only thing he's ever wanted to do. But if he needs to go somewhere else now to show that they missed out, then that's what he's going to do.
This is Trevor Lee, also known as Cameron Grimes. I just got off the phone with WWE and unfortunately I've been released from my contract. 5 years ago, the last thing that I was able to tell my father, Tracy Cadell, was that I signed with the WWE. I loved working here. I loved working at the WWE. I want to thank absolutely everybody that's helped me. I could sit here and name off a list of people, but the video might be a little bit too long. Even though you guys haven't seen me in the past year, I've been trying my best to learn from everybody that comes through, everybody that would let me sit there and listen. But if you're a fan of mine, I'm here to let you know that there's a damn fire lit under my ass, man. All I want to do is work. All I've ever wanted to do is work. This is all I got, man. But hey, the good news is there ain't going to be no stopping Trevor Lee now, baby. Let me tell you that. I love you guys. If you're watching this, I love you. We're going to figure this out. This isn't what I wanted to do at all. The WWE is all I've ever wanted to do and be. But if I have to go somewhere else now to show them that they missed out, I guess that's what I got to do. Thank you, guys.
Switching gears, we saw some new champions be crowned this week. Becky Lynch is the new WWE Women's World Champion, winning a battle royal on Monday's WWE Raw show to fill the Women's World title vacated by Rhea Ripley on last week's episode. Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch battled on the apron as the final two competitors, with Becky Lynch avoiding Liv Morgan's Oblivion finisher and winning the match after a manhandle slam force lift Morgan to the floor. The title victory is the 7th world title for Becky Lynch in WWE after holding the SmackDown Women's title on 4 occasions and the Raw Women's title twice. The Women's World title shares a lineage with the SmackDown title but was renamed in 2023. Becky Lynch also has an NXT Women's Championship reign on her resume, but WWE is currently not recognizing the NXT titles as world championships. And speaking of NXT, Trick Williams is the new NXT champion. Trick Williams pinned Ilya Dragunov in the main event of NXT Spring Breakin to win the championship for the first time, striking Ilya Dragunov with a knee strike for the win. After the match, the two hugged as Ilya Dragunov handed the championship to Williams. The show ended with Trick Williams celebrating with fans in the crowd. This ends Ilya Dragunov's run with the title after 206 days. He defeated Carmelo Hayes for the title at No Mercy back in September. On to our next story. Finn Balor isn't going anywhere. Fightful Select reported on Monday that Finn Balor is expected to sign a long-term contract extension with WWE, if he hasn't already. His deal was set to expire in the next couple of months. Fightful described the deal as a multi-year big money offer. Additionally, they noted that Finn was on an AEW list of potential free agents they were keeping their eye on this coming summer. Right before Raw started, Finn wrote on X that he ain't going nowhere, saying, "I would like to take this moment to say thank you to WWE for 10 incredible years. And after much thought and consideration, I have decided that now is the right time to say I ain't going nowhere." Finn Balor signed with WWE back in 2014 and became a major star on the NXT brand, winning the NXT Championship. He was called up to the main roster in 2016 and won the Universal Championship shortly after. Recently, he has been a part of the Judgment Day stable on Raw, losing the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles that he held with Damian Priest at WrestleMania 40. And speaking of WrestleMania 40, Jey Uso feels like he and his twin brother Jimmy let people down with their WrestleMania 40 match. In what was the 3rd ever brother versus brother match at WrestleMania, Jey defeated Jimmy at night 1 of this year's event. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart and Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy were the 2 previous brother versus brother matchups. Jey versus Jimmy only went 11 minutes and received largely negative reviews. While speaking with Gorilla Position, Jey gave his thoughts on the match, saying, "I wanted to go out there and have a straight up banger. I wanted to do the wrestling part, but let alone make sure the emotion part is there. It was just a time issue. You know what I'm saying? You just got to play your position on the team. That's what happened. I'm still happy though. I got a singles match on WrestleMania with my brother. That's the big picture. So I'm going to always have me and him in the face-off at WrestleMania. I'm going to frame a picture. It's marked off of our box. I just wish we could have went ham the way I know we can." Before the match, Jey and Jimmy found out they were having some of their time cut due to the show being over its planned time. Jey versus Jimmy was the 4th of 7 matches to take place on the WrestleMania 40 Night 1 card. Damian Priest will defend his World Heavyweight Championship against Jey at WWE Backlash in France on Saturday, May 4th. Jey is looking to become a singles champion for the first time in his career. That's a wrap for this episode of The Latest. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to F4W Online, and I'll catch you on the next one.